Hey drivers, should you buy a MOZA R3 instead of a Logitech G29? Well, sometimes yes and sometimes no. It's complicated, let me explain. Unlike a lot of comparison videos online, I actually own both ecosystems and have spent countless in-game miles using them. I've used them in everything from arcade titles like Forza Horizon 6 to full simulators like iRacing. I've competed in endurance races, stood on podiums, drifted, rallied, and raced with both setups extensively. By the end of this video, you might decide that buying a used Logitech is actually the smarter choice. But if you're buying new, and especially if you're thinking about sim racing as a long-term hobby, there are some really important reasons why I think the MOZA R3 has become one of the best values in sim racing today. We're going to compare these wheels in 5 categories: price, realism, upgrade potential, racing performance, and long-term value. And trust me, the winner isn't always who you think it is. Let's start with the category everyone cares about: price. When buying brand new, I think the MOZA R3 bundle is one of the best deals in sim racing right now. The Logitech G29 typically comes in around $299 new, while the MOZA R3 bundle often sells for around $279. Now yes, the MOZA R3 bundle doesn't include a clutch pedal, but we'll talk later about why that may not actually be a deal breaker. What you're getting for less money is a true direct drive wheelbase. That fact alone is pretty remarkable considering where sim racing was just a few years ago. So if we're strictly talking about buying new, the winner is clearly MOZA. But this category changes completely when we start talking about the used market. The Logitech ecosystem has been around forever. You have the Logitech G27s, the 29s, the G920, the G923. They're everywhere. I've seen complete setups selling for under $100 on Facebook Marketplace, sometimes even including a shifter and even a wheel stand. At that point, it's hard to argue against Logitech. If your goal is simply to get into sim racing for as little money as possible, Logitech still reigns supreme. So in the category of price overall, we'll have to give it a draw. It all depends on the camp you fall into. Now the second category, realism. This is where direct drive really starts to pull away. The biggest limitation of Logitech's entry-level wheels isn't necessarily force feedback strength, it's the mechanism itself. Because Logitech uses a gear-driven system, you can physically feel those gears working while you drive. You feel the gear mesh, the cogging, and the internal mechanical resistance as you turn the wheel. Now don't get me wrong, millions of sim racers, myself included, learned on Logitech wheels. But once you spend time with direct drive, it's difficult to ignore the difference. With the MOZA R3, there are no gears between your hands and the motor. The wheel feels smooth, connected, and natural. Instead of feeling the wheel's internal mechanics, you're primarily feeling what the car is trying to communicate. The front tires loading up, weight transfer, grip loss, road texture, and oversteer. Everything feels cleaner and more direct. Less noise for your mind to sift through. And after switching back and forth between both for countless hours, that's probably the biggest difference I've noticed every single time. For realism, the win goes to MOZA. On to the third category, upgrade potential. This category is actually a lot closer than people think. The Logitech ecosystem has one of the largest modding communities in sim racing. You can upgrade brake pedals, springs, load cell conversions, steering wheel shapes with a little extra work, as well as sequential and gate pressure mods for their shifter. Seriously, some of the modified Logitech setups I've seen are incredible. However, some require a little extra ingenuity skills to put together. Because Logitech has been around for so long, you can find an even wider range of third-party parts from DIY sellers on places like eBay and Facebook Marketplace. In terms of sheer variety and accessibility, the options outweigh what's currently available in MOZA, but that is changing. Now onto the MOZA R3. The MOZA ecosystem also has a growing modding scene. The SRP light pedals can be upgraded with load cell kits, elastomers, progressive springs, brake modifications, and third-party accessories. You can also add the MOZA SRP clutch pedal from moza.com, see my affiliate link below, and then enhance it with third-party mods from eBay and the like. All can be installed with relative ease. But here's the thing that makes the difference between both ecosystems. The foundation matters. A fully upgraded Logitech setup is still fundamentally a gear-driven wheel. A fully upgraded MOZA R3 setup, or R5, is still fundamentally a direct drive wheel. So while Logitech arguably wins in terms of sheer modding variety and affordability, if your goal is ultimate realism, MOZA still just edges ahead thanks to that direct drive foundation. For upgrade potential, the result is nearly another draw, with MOZA slightly ahead for realism and Logitech slightly ahead for the variety and time in the market. So on to our fourth category, racing performance. Now here's where I think people sometimes get a little emotional. Can you be fast on a Logitech wheel? Absolutely. There have been incredible successful sim racers who started their careers on Logitech equipment. I personally race competitively on a low level with my Logitech wheel. At the end of the day, time with the equipment and skill matters far more than hardware. If you spend enough time practicing with either wheel, you can absolutely become competitively fast. But racing isn't about setting one fast lap. Racing is about consistency, and consistency comes from processing information efficiently. Because the MOZA R3 delivers smoother, cleaner feedback with less mechanical noise, your brain spends less time filtering out what the wheel itself is doing and more time understanding what the car is doing. And that's where I think direct drive really shines. Not because it magically makes you faster, but because it removes distractions. And fewer distractions can lead to greater consistency over long sessions, or at least get you there to that consistency much faster. Consistency wins races. The value of lapping consistently always outweighs the ability to put down one fast lap. By the way, this concept of consistency over outright speed is actually something I discuss quite a bit in my new sim racing book, The Standard of Driving. If you're interested in improving your driving regardless of what wheel you own, I'll leave the link in the description below. So for this category in racing performance, I give the win to MOZA. You just can't beat the foundation this platform provides for aiding consistency in these two ecosystems. Now on to my last category, long-term value. This, in my opinion, is the strongest argument for buying the MOZA R3 if you're purchasing new. A Logitech setup is often both your entry point and your destination. A MOZA setup is usually your entry point and the beginning of an upgrade path. You can upgrade your wheelbase to a R5 or a R9 and beyond. You can upgrade your pedals to feel as good as some of the best out there. The MOZA OEM shifter and handbrake are essentially better options than what the base level Logitech wheels offer. You can swap steering wheels with ease, like the MOZA Formula wheel mod and the 12-inch rally wheel grip. See my links to the review videos in the description below. You can continue building your setup over time without completely starting over. And because of that, I think the value proposition of the R3 becomes stronger the longer you stay in sim racing. Also, a quick reminder again, if you decide that the MOZA ecosystem is right for you, I do have an affiliate link in the description below. Using it helps support the channel at no additional cost to you and allows me to continue testing equipment and making videos like this. So in the end, for long-term value, I'll give the win to MOZA. So final thoughts. Should you buy a MOZA R3 instead of a Logitech G29? Remember what I said at the beginning of this video. Sometimes yes, and sometimes absolutely not. If you're buying used and you find a complete Logitech setup for around $100, seriously, that's one of the best deals in all of sim racing. But if you're buying brand new and plan to stick with sim racing for years to come, I genuinely believe the MOZA R3 or even the R5 is one of the best values available today. Logitech introduced millions of drivers to sim racing, including myself, but MOZA has created an affordable path into the direct drive ecosystem. And for me personally, after spending countless in-game miles with both, that's what makes the MOZA R3 such a compelling choice. If you already own an R3, I highly recommend checking out my recent video on my favorite upgrade I've made to the wheel, the MOZA Formula wheel mod. It completely transformed how the R3 feels for racing GT3 cars. And now I want to hear from you. Which sounds like the better deal for you? Are you Team Logitech or Team MOZA? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, I'll see you soon. Drive safe and save it for the track.